welcome back to Trauma and Tea with Matt and Moll. We have Shocka here today, who is a rapper and mental health advocate, and who's come to speak with us about his journey. So thank you, Shocka, for joining us on Trauma and Tea today.
No problem. Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. It's a proper honor.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, where should we
Yes.
begin? Obviously, you've got lots to talk about.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know you've talked about it a lot because I've seen some of your
yeah.
stuff. So, first thing first, do you ever get tired of doing?
The fact I had the opportunity to talk about it over and over again kind of healed me. You talk about it over and then you go over it, and then when the interview's finished, you go over certain parts that it's just a beautiful thing. It allowed me to heal. The only thing now is that because I was talking about it so much, the only thing that makes it a bit more exciting now is the kind of questions I get asked. If I get asked like some
if they're interested.
Yeah, if there's like some different questions or like I don't know, those are the sort of things that make it a bit interesting now. But yeah,
That's what. Should we begin with your story?
yes. Oh, I don't even know where to start. It starts from
So,
yeah, go
you
on, go ahead.
you you hit bad times around when
2012.
2012. Obviously we know, but obviously for our listeners, could you just let us know a little bit about what led you in that place?
So,
What was going
Oh,
on at the time?
you started
oh,
in the rap group Marvel, didn't you? That's right.
yes. That's where
Tell
it
us
all
about
started.
tell us about your kind of introduction into the music scene.
Yeah, so I've always been doing music forever. I started writing when I was like 14. I'm 35 now, so I've been doing music forever. Um, but it got serious when I joined the rap group Marvel. There was three of us. One was Nigerian, which was me. One was Ghanaian. One was Ugandan. Three African boys, and we just had this dream to like just take over the world and to share our gifts. And we did exactly that. We brought out this mixtape called Marvel FM because we couldn't get a radio. It was so difficult to get a radio. It's not like now where like you don't even need radio. You can just do like Spotify or like playlist or YouTube. That time you really needed radio to be heard, and we was finding it hard to get on radio. So we made our own mixtape called Marvel FM, our own radio station, and it took off. Like the first one got like I don't know if you remember when it was all downloads and stuff. The first
Yeah,
one got like 5,000 downloads, and that was like incredible to us. Then the second one got like 20,000 downloads, and the third one got 50,000 downloads. It was the third one that we really started like making a name for ourselves, and then we found ourselves in studio with Drake in 2010. We didn't record anything, but we was just at the same studio with him, and we ended up talking to him for a little bit, and we saw him for that whole week, and he was there with Rihanna, and that's what kind of distracted us because Rihanna was huge and he wasn't that big at the time. So I remember we was focused on Rihanna. When I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I was with Drake. But Rihanna was
yeah,
so big that like it kind of distracted us from Drake. So I'm happy I spoke to both of them and like I've still got the footage. So next time I see them, I'm sure I'm gonna run into them again at some after party or somewhere. And I'm like, yo, do you remember this? And then we'll have a beautiful conversation. But yeah, that was 2010. We went on tour that year. 2010 was an incredible year. We went on tour with Chipmunk that year. We went on tour with Diversity that year. The group that won Britain's Got Talent. That was an amazing year. But it was the year after that that things started going like really bad. So we got dropped from our label the year after that because the song that they signed us for didn't do too well. And I didn't understand the industry at that time. I just thought, okay, if a song doesn't do well, then we release another song. But it doesn't work like that. If it doesn't do well, they basically see it as like it's a risk to go again. Especially all
okay,
the money you have to put into it. They put a lot of money into our campaign. They spent over £30,000 for the video, for the promotion. You know how it goes and everything.
yeah,
So yeah, we ended up getting dropped from our label, and then that's when I spiraled into deep depression, man. I took that really hard. The other two band members didn't take it as hard as me, but I think they didn't have the pressure that I had. They both had other things they was doing individually. So one of them, Double F, he was like a star on his own. He was the face of the group before he even joined the group. He was like a star. And then the other one, Vertex, was like a video director before he joined the group. So he shot some amazing videos. I don't know if you know who Titi Strider is.
Yeah,
Don't know if you've heard of him.
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So he shot some of his videos. He did so many stuff. But he did all those amazing videos. So like, they still had stuff to do while we got dropped from the label while things was going pear shaped. They still had stuff to do on the side. Whereas me now, I just quit my job. I was working at Sports World. I just quit my job. I didn't get into university. All my friends was going to university at that time, and I was saying I'm gonna chase music. And then also, I'm from like an African background. I'm like, I'm Nigerian, mum's Nigerian, dad's Nigerian. In the African home, if you're seen at home like 24 hours out of the day, the pressure they give you and the look. My mum used to give me this look that used to make me feel so terrible.
Mm.
She used to go to work in the morning. I'll be at home, and she'll come back in the evening, knock on my door, and ask me what I've done, and I'll say I've been at home the whole day, and I'll be in my boxes, and like I just fell into deep depression, man. True, it's isolation. I didn't know what isolation even was. I was so outgoing, but during that period, I was to myself, and then it all exploded, and I had a big breakdown at end of 2011. I came home one day, and I remember like I was like, I don't know what I was trying to say, but like, I was trying to say everything I had bottled up, but I didn't have the language to articulate it. And then
Yeah.
I had my first big breakdown, and I got sectioned and put in a mental health hospital. There's a hospital near me in North London called St Anne's, and I was there for 5 days. That was my first time being sectioned, and that experience, it took me, it took me nearly 10 years to heal from that experience. Being sectioned, I don't know if you've got any family members or any friends that's been in the system. I don't know if you've spoken to them about that experience. It is traumatic. It is a shell shock.
I've heard lots of different things personally. I think it's more, I don't think there's enough education see around the mental health and what actually goes on when you get sectioned.
Yeah.
And also, I feel uh, like, is it fair to say that you wish there was more education on how the music industry runs? Because lots of people dream about being a star and doing music, but they don't understand this industry at all.
Yes. I wish more artists would do more in-depth conversations talking about the ups and downs, and
Yeah,
especially talking about things that went wrong for them and things that, because everyone talks about what went right, and
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what entices us to want to be a part of it when they're talking about the money they made, the cars, the sponsorships. We're like, yes, we want to do this, but no one talks about when that deal doesn't go through, or when you're not hot anymore, or when you miss your opportunity, when everyone's talking about you and you don't live up to the expectations that everyone thought you was going to be. No one
Mm,
talks about, do you know what I mean? Depression. No one talks about losing their record deal. What that's like, what that beating's like.
yeah.
How just a few weeks before that you was having dinner with your record label boss, or like popping champagne, and then
And all
three
these
weeks later,
different people.
and
Yeah.
all these different people, and then 3 weeks later, you're trying to get them on the phone, and they're not answering your calls anymore, and they're sending you to speak to like the second. Do you know what I mean? There's so much signs that if you can show like a well-rounded view of the music industry, then people can really decide if they want to be a part of it. I think people are only getting shown one side. So then what happens is that they come in and they get like a shock. No pun intended to my name, but they come in and they get like they get like a shock. You know what I mean? And that's what's
Yeah.
happening. So
I
that's what I'm trying
agree.
to do with that's what I'm trying to do with mental health, especially. I'm trying to show all sides. Hence why, going back to the first question you asked me, hence why I'm not too mad about sharing my story so much time, because like people need to hear it and people need to hear a story like mine,
I totally
especially
agree.
about sex.
I know lots of people who are trying to do, like, go make music. I got a friend who's in a band and he's doing really well, but I've seen his struggles, like I
Yeah.
totally, I've seen it only because I know somebody I would never have
Yes.
known if I didn't know myself. And I do think it's
Yeah.
important because, like you said, that was what led you to be sectioned. And then you were sectioned a couple of times after that again, was
Yes.
you?
I sectioned 4 times. So I got sectioned in 2012, then I got sectioned in the end of 2013, early 2014. That's because I wasn't taking my medication. That's another thing. That's why it's so good to hear stories like these, because I know so much people can relate. Um, in the area that I grew up in, which is Tottenham, where I am now, um, it's such a taboo when it comes to medication. People have all these thoughts around it that like um, they're trying to poison you, or they're trying to dumb you down, or like you shouldn't be taking it and it's not good for you, and all this stuff that I used to hear. And then like I came off it. I used to come on and off it, and I didn't say nothing, and I didn't say nothing, and that's how I ended up. Yeah,
Do
well,
you
it
think
seems like
that's
it's a
because
prison.
you get better? Is that because you feel better and then you think you're out of it and then you go back down?
Yes, but there's a process. So if you're on like 4 milligrams, you're meant to go down to 3, then to 2, then to 1, then you come off. You don't just go from 4 and just jump off.
I
Yeah.
think that's
And
the
that's what,
common misconception with mental health, and antipsychotics and all these other drugs. People genuinely get to a point where they feel better, and then they
yes.
don't feel they need them, and that's when they're in danger.
Exactly, and that's what happened to me. I'll feel good for like a week or two and be like, "All right, cool, I'm not taking it no more, I'm good." And I wouldn't consult my mum about it or consult my doctors about it. I'll just stop taking it, pretend that I'm taking it. Like my mum will think that she would hear me in the kitchen rattling around thinking I'm taking it, but I was just throwing it away and not taking it. And then
Mm.
yeah, I ended up relapsing, and that's the second time I got section. And I remember I always tell this story in every interview. You probably heard me say it before. Um, I used to get section around December times.
All right, I didn't know that.
So my friends will have this joke when December's approaching, like they'll start messages saying, "Shocks, you better stay at home, don't go outside or whatever. December's coming, you're gonna get section again." So I remember I broke that December curse. So 2014, and then 2000, no, 13, 14, 15, 15, 15. No, I broke it for a year. So 2014, 15, I didn't get section. In 2016, you probably know the story. My friend signed his record deal and he got like a big advance. You know, they give you big money in big advance. And he
Yeah.
wanted to have some fun. So he called me and said, "You want to go to Magaluf for a few days?" And like, I'm not gonna say no. If someone's gonna pay for my ticket, and at that time, I was doing absolutely nothing with my life. As I mentioned, I was just like at home doing nothing. And then I get a call from my friend saying, "You got your passport with you? You want to go to Magaluf?" I sent him my passport details, flight was booked, and we met Magaluf. It was the biggest mistake I could have made in my life. I went as
Oh,
an absolute rock star. Yeah. And then I went out there and they were doing all sorts of drugs. I didn't take no drugs personally, but I had a friend that also went out there, my friend after me, and he told me that my friend that I went out there with was caught trying to put drugs in people's drinks. And I'm not saying that he did that to me because I don't have no proof, but I wouldn't be surprised because the way I reacted and the relapse I had out there wasn't normal because I drink alcohol all the time and I wasn't supposed to react like that. I don't know, maybe it was
mm,
because I hadn't traveled in so long or it's just recently came up a breakdown. I don't know. I got so many theories in my mind. I'll never know the true answer. But I had a big breakdown out there and I had to keep myself composed all the way till I got back to England. You can imagine what that terror was like for me. I
yeah,
remember being on the plane and feeling like the people behind me was like talking about me on the plane. Like it was a horrible experience. And then I got home and I messaged my mom and I said, I'm not feeling too good. My mom knew straight away because she didn't want me to go on the trip, but she couldn't tell me not to, if you know what I mean. And then
yeah,
she came home and I got sectioned for the third time. And that was a breakthrough for me. That last section was the breakthrough. That's when the doctor said to me, you can't keep coming in and out of hospital. You've been in and out of hospital for 3 times already. You're only 27 years old. You need to figure something out. So when I got discharged, I did so much work that I urge people to do. Please do not just rely on the NHS system. It's an amazing system, but that's not what's going to completely heal you. What's going to completely heal you is you doing the work. You sitting down,
uh-huh,
you asking yourself intimate, deep questions. You finding books that you need to read. You researching. I did so much research. I did so much work to become the person that you're seeing in front of you on this screen now. I did so much work. I researched people's stories. At that time, it's not like now where I've got a whole tribe of people that I found that's in section, or I can come on trauma and tea and talk to you guys. At that time, none of this was available to me, so it was really difficult to find stories that I could, you know,
yeah.
get information from and find
And
help from.
this is our movement really, innit, Matt? We want to try and get as many stories that are taboo or not taboo, wherever, so that people can just come and listen and maybe just realize that they're not
Yes,
alone, and then they can start maybe doing it. Hopefully, though, that's the movement, you know. So I just wanted to say, going back to Matt, I saw something where you said that you feel like in your culture, then it tends to be if you're uh, unwell mentally, it was like, I just go to church.
yes, yes,
How
yes,
do you when you say this in talks to
yeah.
people, how do people respond? Do you think they find that like a hard truth?
I think they understand, especially in the black culture. They know exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah,
something that we experience, like, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with church. I'm a Christian myself. Church is a beautiful thing, but I feel like there's a time and place for certain things, and I feel like if something hasn't worked in a certain area, you should review it
100%.
and try another route. So I feel like church, praying is such a beautiful thing, but mental health is so much more deeper than that. It's so much
Yeah,
more deeper than telling someone to say a prayer and then go back to sleep. It's so much more deeper. There's layers and layers of like questions and stuff that they're going through. And sometimes a conversation is more powerful than a prayer at some point. Some people
yeah,
just want a conversation. The amount of people you can imagine what my DMs look like on Instagram. And like sometimes I don't even say a word. I just see words just blurring out on the screen. And after they've got that out of their system, they always end by saying thank you for listening. So that means
yeah.
they just needed someone to
An
hear them
outlet.
out,
Mm,
an outlet, and that's what you guys are doing. Like, and that's why I said I'm not really mad about telling my story because all these platforms and all these podcasts that I've gone on to share my story, it gave me an outlet to like get it out and a
yeah,
safe space to do it. That's the most important part is a safe space. People have people
trusted
to talk
people.
to, but they're not safe spaces. They'll
Yeah,
run off into the group chat and talk about it, or they'll share it. Stuff like this is a safe space because you guys we have our morals aligned, what we represent aligned. So like you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I think
yeah,
there should be more safe spaces for more people to speak. People just want to speak and um, get what they're feeling off their chest. That is mostly the case. Or
I
people want to
agree.
hear other stories. What's healed me the most? Because everyone always asks me, Shocks, what really healed you? Was it the medication? Was it the intervention team? Was it the sectioning? And I always say, do you know what really healed me? Was hearing other people's stories.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, that is such a healer for anyone. There's something powerful about knowing that someone else out there, while you was overthinking in your room, they was overthinking in their room too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's so powerful. That's why we watch movies. That's why because we want to see ourselves in the film. That's why we watch sitcoms and we watch movies and we watch Netflix because like we relate to these stories. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And
yeah,
we try to put ourselves in their shoes. Like, "Ooh, imagine what that's like, and that makes us have a stronger connection to them. Or like, so it's
yeah.
important for us to keep sharing our stories.
I totally agree, and well, we're just so glad to hear you, really. Um, I'm just trying to think.
I just want to ask about just about the hospitalizations. You said that was
Yeah,
really difficult and traumatic. What
yeah.
what about it was the most difficult and traumatic thing? What was the hardest part?
Um, I think.
And were there any positives as well in it?
Oh,
Hmm.
that's a good question. That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. What was the
Yeah,
positive?
let's talk about the positives. There must be some.
Being sectioned, a positive.
Was
Um,
the help with it? Was the team good?
I was really fortunate. That's a good. Yeah, you just triggered something. That was a good positive. I was really fortunate because I've spoken to. I was in Parliament last week, and there was this guy in there that was like really emotional because the process that he went through, being detained, they put a knee on his neck, and like he went through such a difficult time, and like the nurses that he had, and I couldn't relate because all the 4 times that I've been sectioned, I've been extremely lucky. I've had friendly nurses, I've had no problems. I spoke to a patient recently, and someone gave him cocaine when he was in there,
Oh,
forced him to take
Mhm.
it. Yeah, like forced him to take it. And people have been beaten up. I saw a picture of one of my friends recently. He had like a big swollen eye. I've never had none of that. I never had no fights. I never had no problems. So I went for it thinking like that's how it goes, not knowing that people have had completely different experiences to me. So that's a positive. That
yeah,
I never got traumatized in that sense. But I got traumatized in the sense of like being around people that is unwell for so long. You know, you only
Yeah,
see people that's unwell from a distance. You might see someone that's unwell on telly or scrolling the Instagram and see someone that's unwell. But being like within that range of people that's unwell for like 2.5 weeks. So you wake up every day and you're just seeing people behave in ways that's like completely not the norm. And it
yeah.
did you
confused
find
me when I
that
got,
hard to recover from? Because obviously
yes,
you're in a weird space, and then obviously you're. How do you pull yourself back
I had
from?
to, my nurses used to call me the patient that doesn't come out of his room, because that was the only way I could survive. I was like, if I keep coming out my room and I keep seeing this and staying around this, because people you hang around with have a natural effect on you anyway. You
Yeah,
become what you're around. So if I
yeah,
kept staying around that, if I like, I wouldn't have survived. So I had to keep staying in my room. They used to call me to come out to get breakfast. pull me to come out to get lunch, pull me to come out to take a walk. I wouldn't come out my room because like every time I came out, I found myself like losing myself and getting deeper and deeper. And
Mm.
that was what really affected me. And even when I got discharged and I came, because I remember when I got discharged this last time I got sectioned, no one came to pick me up. My auntie just told me to take an Uber home. And I remember I was so scared because I hadn't been out in like 2 weeks. When you're there, you don't really get to see outside. You get a
Yeah.
little walk around, but that's about it. And I was so scared. I was seeing traffic lights and people, and it was like I'm making it sound nice now, but you can imagine how scary that was. And like, um, I didn't know if someone was gonna harm me or like just because of the behavior I was used to while I was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really traumatizing coming back out. Even being in the I took a taxi and being in a taxi was like it's really scared, man. It's so easy to lose your mind in this world, honestly, and it's
The
like
brain is really powerful. I mean,
it really is.
it can be a really dark place. So with the your diagnosis of schizophrenia, do you find when people hear that, do they respond to you in a different way because they're not educated? Just because I knew somebody who I worked with who was schizophrenic, and as soon as anybody new in the office found out they were schizophrenic, it was kind of like, oh, they're gonna kill me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You get that sort of reaction?
I don't get that sort of reaction, but I think it's because of um my music kind of helped me a lot because I make music and like it happens to be good music, thank God. And I make music. People kind of overlook it and be like, oh, um, he might have a schizophrenia diagnosis, but like he's talented or something. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. But like if you don't have anything, if you're not offering anything like that, people just judge you and just be like, do you know what I mean? He's got
This
schizophrenia, he
person
can't do
found it,
anything. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
found it
So I
really
feel
hard
like,
because people assumed that they were just totally different person to what they was and didn't
yes,
understand that
exactly.
actually it was controllable. And I think more
Exactly.
education on emotions, especially, maybe I'd like to see that in schools with kids.
Yes.
Less
Yes.
less numbers and bums on seats and more to do with real stuff, real feelings.
Yes. Definitely. Agreed.
Because
Well,
so many kids who can't speak out their emotions.
yeah, I agree. I was
So
gonna say someone was gonna say something, yeah.
yeah, you just alluded to there now. Music's kind of helped you in your healing journey. It's been sort of an outlet, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to us a bit about so since that last hospitalization, and you kind of turned things around, and you've kind of pursued that solo career.
Yeah.
Uh, Can you talk to us a bit about that and how,
About how music helped.
yeah, and how you've been able to kind of channel that.
Music helped because it allowed me to say things that I couldn't say to my friends, family, partner. I got to say it in the music. And
Yeah,
I always say, not even I always say, I heard someone say that the longer you keep what's bothering you inside you, it turns into poison. And
yeah,
that scared the shit out of me. I remember
Yeah.
hearing it thinking, not for literal poison, but I know what he meant. Like it turns into something that could harm you in the future and like, or it can spill out in a certain way. And that kind of frightened me. And no one ever said it to me like that because I was always holding things in thinking that there's no repercussions. But after that got said to me, I was like, okay, cool. I need a place to get this out. And I always say there's 5 different ways to be vulnerable. You can be vulnerable with your creator, number one. I don't know what everyone's religion is or if they even believe in that or meditation, however you want to put it. The second way is through a therapist, which that's a way that a lot of people are using in today's day. Another way is through your partner, if you're in a relationship and you're connected to your partner like that. Another way is with family members, your brothers, sisters, cousins. And another way is through your art form, like drawing or painting or journaling. And I couldn't do none of the four. I couldn't do therapy. I couldn't do partner, friend. So I picked art form and I really used that properly with my art form. If you listen to my music, sometimes I forget that I'm making music and it has to be enjoyable. That's how much I'm like inventing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything goes into my music and like that's healed me so much. And also with music, you've got to listen to it back. So you're actually hearing your voice say these things. And the
Yeah.
more you hear your voice say these things, you realize that hearing it out loud, you realize it's not as scary as you think. What makes it
Yeah.
scary is that it's living in your head and you've never uttered it out loud. That's why when you write it down and you read it back, you're like, oh, this ain't even that bad. You know what I mean? And then you can show someone else, and like that's the beauty of working with people is that they could show you the answer or show you do you know what I mean? And give
Yeah,
you a bit of advice here and there. Whereas when you just keep it to yourself, if you don't have the answer, you're stuck. So you
yeah,
need to show someone, but it's just who you show is important. So like
yeah,
with my music, I'll say certain things, and someone will call me and say, "I didn't know you're feeling like that," and they'll be like, "Did you know that you can? There's a book from this person," or do you know what I mean? And they'll
yeah.
refer me with all these things, and I'll take it on, and like it's like how I mentioned. I don't know if you've read my book. I got a book that I released in September last year, and I spoke about Louise Hay. I don't know if you know who. Do you know who Louise Hay is?
I don't.
Oh my God, she's phenomenal. You need to look her up. She's
Louise
passed
Hay,
away
right?
now, but
Can I just
yeah,
ask what
she
the
was
book's called?
Louise Hay's book.
Not your book.
My book's called A Section of My Life.
Oh,
Section.
section.
So it's kind of a play on words of a section, big section, and a section of my life. But
Whatever.
it's doing really well. I was reading the Amazon reviews the other day, just snooping around, and like it's got great reviews. But yeah, Louise Hay. Someone I saw that book on someone's status on WhatsApp, and I asked them if it's a good book, and they said, "Yeah, you should try it." And I bought the book, and I started watching her workshops on YouTube, and it completely changed my life. So it's just things like that just taking in on board what people have to say and what people refer to you. And I've just been on that journey ever since. But music was the catalyst. Music has helped me so much, and I've helped other people with the music, and I continue using music to heal myself and heal others.
What
Yeah.
type of music do you listen to personally? Is it similar type of music? Or do you listen to a bit of
I
everything?
listen to all sorts of music. I listen to all sorts of music. We can go from Westlife to to, from Westlife from
Westlife. Now you're showing your age.
yeah. I listen to all sorts of music. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of Afrobeat. The
Yeah.
vibes, yeah, the vibrations that they're putting out in Afrobeats is so beautiful and positive. I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah,
no one is beating Afrobeats at the moment just for that reason. All the other music, like I'm really conscious about what I take in, and like as much as I love my rap music, what they're talking about, it's just the same old things. It's the
yeah.
same songs and cars and women and clothes, and
So
it's the same
Personally,
shit.
personally, I don't know about but I like a bit of light techno.
Okay, nice.
Just noise. Just noise.
Yeah.
so
No words, noise.
you released your debut album in 2020, which also features Burna Boy, which has got some Afrobeats influence. Can you tell us about
Yes.
that album?
That weren't my debut. That weren't my debut. My debut album comes out this year.
Was
That
it?
Oh,
could have been my debut album comes out this year. That could have been my album though. You're talking about Impact Over Numbers.
Yeah.
That was the last project I released. That was 2020. And I sampled Burna Boy. Burna Boy weren't actually on it, but I can't wait to work with him. I sampled him. So basically, there's an interview where he's talking about um they asked him what he thinks about numbers, and he was saying numbers is not really important to him. It's about the impact he's making. And I was like, yep, I'm going to take that and put that. That's perfect to what I'm trying to say. So yeah, impact over numbers. That was like a turning point for me. That was when like I got the philosophy of what I'm doing on this planet and what I represent. Before I was like tinkering around it, but I didn't know what it was called, what I'm trying to do. I'm like, why am I sharing my story? Why am I trying to make a positive impact? What is this? Why am I doing this? And then I found it. I didn't know. Like, you got to ask yourself these things. Like, even you doing trauma and tea, it's for a
we are.
reason. You know what I mean? Especially
Uh,
covering the subjects you cover, it's for a reason. Like, you're giving me time. You could be watching telly right now. We could be doing something completely different. So when I found out, okay, impact of numbers, that's what I'm doing. That is what it is. I'm trying to make an impact, even if it's just one person's life. And then, yeah, that project was a turning point. That like kind of helped me define everything I represent.
And what was it like being a musician in the pandemic in that time?
Um, ooh, that's a good question. There was no shows for sure, but it wasn't really a project that I released. I was doing more like Zooms and stuff around mental health. It just shot up during that period, as you can imagine. I
do you
was
think that
it's
time
after
period was quite good for you to to talk about more?
yeah,
Because you're
definitely.
given the
And
time
plus
to do it.
I'm an introverted person, so I love the pandemic. I tell everyone, I loved it. Oh my God, I didn't
We
have to
love
go
being
out.
antisocial.
I didn't have to go out. I didn't have to explain why I don't have to go out because everyone knew why I
Yeah,
went indoors. I loved it. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved the pandemic. I
that's
loved
nice to
it.
know.
Yeah, and I came to this park sometimes. This is park right like 2 minutes from me. I used to come here and then go back. I love the I'm that proper. It don't sound like an introverted person because I'm always in front of thousands of people doing talks, but that's because I have to do what I have to do. But I'll
Yeah.
prefer to like just be chilling. I'm a proper like to myself person.
That must be hard when you're so creative and talented, and then you got this other side to you. It's just like, right, I've been out for a day. I need to recover.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I need to hide for
I
3 years.
I am that person. Like I was just like I had a busy week last week. Like every other day I was doing something. And then from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I've just been chilling, just recharging. I'm that kind of person.
I think though it's important that you recognize that. I think some people genuinely, I'm one of them people, I really do need to recover, maybe more
Yeah.
than your average person. But I think once you realize that and accept it, you could probably do way more and live a
Yes.
better, fulfilling life mentally, I think.
Definitely. I totally agree.
In one of your talks with a TED talk, I think it was, you said that love is the glue that will put us back together.
Yes.
How do you teach something? Because self-love is so hard.
Yeah.
What's your advice on like how you love yourself? How do you do that?
Um, the way self-love got taught to me was through Louise Hay again, the woman I was telling you about. She made it click in my head because I used to think that too, and I had a wrong conception about self-love. I thought self-love was bubble baths and lighting candles and dinner dates, which it can be. That's a part of it. But she said the most important part of self-love is your internal dialogue, how you talk to yourself, because she says that conversation never stops and it's forever. It's from the beginning to the end,
Yeah.
whereas the bubble baths and that it's just like a short. That's like 10 minutes. That's like maybe not 10 minutes. Let's give it an hour then. The
Okay.
bubble baths, the dates, all of that, the romantic, all of that is like an hour, and then you go back to that damaging self talk you got. So basically, the bubble bath is just like a pause. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the internal dialogue, it's just a pause, and then you go back to it. She said, if you can sort that conversation out and find out what your triggers are, find out what's bothering you, find out what wrong belief systems you have, find out all these definitions and correct them and change that internal dialogue. She goes, your whole life will be that bubble bath moment you're trying to have. Your whole life will be that because your conversation will be more beautiful. And she's right. And that's what I've worked on. I work because you can imagine for me to get section 4 times, you can imagine what kind of internal dialogue I must have. It wasn't really good. I was saying horrible things to myself. I didn't really like myself. I couldn't look in the mirror at one point, and like I changed. I had to change that, and you change it by repetition.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I learned it through repetition. I didn't say nasty things to myself just once. I said it over and over, and then it sunk into my subconscious and became like a part of my dialogue. And I had to change it, and like I had to say good things, and like I had to start
Affirmations.
celebrating little affirmations and celebrating little wins.
Yeah.
And I think people don't do that. People only celebrate big wins and look at the little wins at nothing, but they actually build up and they give you more and more confidence. So
I
like
love that. That is actually really good advice, I think.
Yeah.
I,
like the
I
TED
don't
talk
think
I did.
even me. I don't celebrate my small wins enough. I don't think
You
anyone
should
does.
do. You should do, man. It turns you into like this superhero. Whereas when you have the little wins, your mind constantly thinks, "Oh my God, she's winning." She said that she wants to do 10 push-ups today, and she did it. She said she wants to go for a walk today, and she did it. And keeping your word is so important. That's a major part. And that's where that conflict comes in your head. Because of all the times that you said you wanted to go gym and you didn't, or you said you're going to return this call and you didn't, or you said you're going to. So now, whenever you say, "Right, I'm going to do something," your brain automatically says, "No, you're not," and it shows you pictures of all the times that you didn't. And now you're in this war with your mind. So like
Mhm.
I think having celebrating little wins, keeping your word, um, forgiving everyone in your life, which is a difficult one because some people have gone through like traumatic things with like partners or abuse or whatever they've gone through. But you have to forgive. You have to forgive for yourself, just for your peace of mind, and just to have a clean slate in your spirit and your soul. So I'll say celebrating your small wins, um, forgiving people, keeping your word, there's all these little ones. It's all in my book,
Being kind
man.
to
I'm trying to
yourself.
remember. Being kind to yourself. There's all these little ones, and if you can follow them, yeah, things will just life will just become this beautiful experience for you. for the past couple of years, I feel like I've been living in like, is it Narnia or like what's that Wonderland?
No,
Yeah, or some one of those places that everything's just been working in my favor. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah. No, what I've noticed with some of your talks, they're quite obviously some of them very poetic. Do you do that deliberately to engage a certain age group, or do you find it easier to bring it across in that way?
I find it easier to bring it across in that way.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
right. You get a
I'm
good
just
response though?
yes, yes, definitely, definitely. I'm just
I think
exercising what I'm good at. So I'm good at the poetry, I'm good at the speaking, so I just merge them together. I like so it's easier to express in that way.
it definitely drew me in talking because it's clever. It's clever.
Thank
And
you.
I could see it working with a lot of teenage years. Um, I I got a daughter myself who's 14, and she would be drawn into something like that, you know.
Yes,
So
yes,
I
exactly, exactly. And plus, I'm not too far from them. Um, being like the youth, I'm not too far from them. So I would
yeah,
know how I would want a message sent to me. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I remember falling asleep in church. Like I fell asleep. I fell asleep not because what the pastor was saying wasn't powerful or impactful enough. I fell asleep because of the way it was being delivered. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
like if you can mix a bit of education and entertainment, I think you have the perfect balance. And you can keep people's attention. Because now, because of social media, our attention span is horrible. Like for me, if you don't grab me in the first 20 seconds, I just scroll to another video.
Yeah, how do you find being like in your 30s? And obviously, for me personally, now I'm in my 30s. I think differently naturally anyway. So I don't really want to be on social media. I don't really care for it. Being in this industry, it makes it very difficult because you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
You know, how do you cope with that? Like, do you have people do that for you because you don't want to, or do you
No,
just,
no, I do it. I definitely do it. I do it. I do it. But what I've learned to do is that I've designed my social media.
okay,
Some people just let their social media run wild. They just follow everyone and they don't like, tailor made their feed. My social media is because I think about I see my screen time sometimes is outrageous. It makes me want to vomit when I see it. How many hours that I could spend on it. But then I get why. It's because I've designed it. I follow who I want to follow. I don't follow everyone. I follow really good pages, positive pages. So like everything I'm seeing is what I want to see. Whereas
yeah,
I always have people complaining, oh my god, there's so much violence on my social media, where there's so much naked women, and it's like, you're following that though.
mm, yeah,
Designed it the way you want to. I've designed it the way I want to design it. Like, because I always get messages saying, "Shocka, follow me back," and I'm like, "Let me check your page first." And
yeah.
I'll go on their page and I'm like, "Bro, please don't be offended. I'm not being rude. But the kind of stuff you post, I don't want to see that on my feed, so I can't follow you." And they'll be like, "Cool, I know they're upset about it, but you just got to respect my wishes. Now I got to be really careful with what I take in."
I agree because social media can be dangerous. I mean, we spoke to my daughter the other day, didn't we, Matt? And she said that when she was 12, she started self harming, and
Yeah,
social media, because she'd researched or looked at one thing, the algorithm then threw
sends
at her,
more.
and she became
Exactly.
really unwell. And I think they said education around this is really important because had I known as a mum that this was going on in the house,
Yeah,
in my own house, you know, I
yeah.
would never have allowed her to even have a phone.
Yeah, that's a great point that you
Quite
mentioned
dangerous.
about. Yeah, that's a great point that you mentioned about the algorithm said it more. So imagine you following negative things. It's gonna be like, oh, is that what you like? And it's gonna give you
Yeah,
so much more of that. So imagine the dopamine of that I get because I follow so much positive stuff. So like it sends me more and more. And what I realized, you don't realize how powerful those positive pages are until you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
I
I remember
agree.
having a really bad day and I came on my phone and I felt like the video that I just saw was for me, the timing of it, and I was like, "Oh my god, like that's perfect timing. Like, thank you for that." So like, you don't realize the power of these pages until you're having a bad day. So
Yeah,
but yeah, I urge everyone to create their world, not just on social media, but in real life as well. Create your world. Like I knew that I got this conversation coming up. Let me go to a park that I like spending time in and have this do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you can really consciously create your world when you become aware. When you're aware that you can consciously create your world, I think you should.
I think that's a really important message, actually, and it's something that I've only just learned in, literally the last 18 months is exactly that. Your world is what you've created, and
Yeah,
I do think maybe more work around that with maybe kids my daughter's age and younger. That with it, it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's always going to be there now. Social media, and I think
yeah,
teaching them how to use it properly is really. I
yeah,
think that should be something that they put into schools because
yeah,
there's not enough information about that. I don't, like you said, I don't know that that's how it works. I just believe that social media didn't have them kinds of things on there, but they're not regulated enough. I don't think.
yeah. No, it has. It's got everything on there. Social media can be a really beautiful thing. It's literally changed my life. The people that I've met on there, the opportunities that I've got from there. It's a tool and you've got to use it. Like,
I think
changed my
that's
life.
Yeah.
Even
important. I think that's
yes,
important. You just said it's a
yeah,
tool and
it's a
can be used
It
for
can be
yeah,
used as a tool, absolutely.
yeah. Exactly. It is the tool, and the tool uses you.
yeah,
And you got to consciously decide. But it's changed my life. Even TikTok. I'm on TikTok at the moment. I don't really post, but I use it to learn things.
yeah,
TikTok has got
Yeah.
everything. Oh my god, I feel like I'm in school. I've
yeah,
been like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I spend too much time on TikTok.
oh my god, I've been learning so much on TikTok, so educational content. And when I tell people about it, they're like, "Are you sure you're talking about TikTok?" I'm like, "What are you watching on there?" They're like, "I watch
Mm.
comedies on there." I'm like, "Okay, see, that's nothing wrong with that, but it depends what you're looking for." So, yeah, I think social media can be a beautiful thing. You just got to know how to use it.
yeah.
So what's next for you this year? I mean, we're only a couple of months into the year. Have you got much planned this year? Are you doing many tours?
Yes.
You,
I've done quite a few already, and I'm so happy about that. Um, especially through the agency which hooked this up, Norgay and Helena, that they're incredible. They're amazing. Oh my god, yes, they're the best. I've got an album which I'm excited about because I haven't released music since 2020, the album that we were speaking about, Impact Over Numbers. So
yeah,
you can imagine I've got so much to say, and I feel
yeah,
like my music is always an update of where I'm at mentally. So like my first project was called Kenneth is a King because like I was trying to change my self. That remember I was talking to you about my conversations in my head. So that was
yeah,
like the start of it. Like I was like, oh, let me change it. Let me call it Kenneth is a King, and that and people are always going to say that. So that was the start of changing that internal dialogue. And the second one was called Conscious Pride because of like um, because my music had like a balance. It was conscious, but at the same time, it was a bit, street where I was from. Then the third one was called Impact Over Numbers, because that's where I got like what I was saying to you. I finally decided like this is what I represent, this is what I want to do. And then this album coming out, it's called Vulnerability, is the new cool, and
yeah,
that's where I'm at now. It's like understanding the power of vulnerability. Hence why I'm doing all these talks um, and I've got so much to say on that project. I can't wait for you lot to hear it. Just give me a
yeah.
message
I
when you
will be
listen to it
listening.
let me know your feedback. But I'm excited about it, and
Lovely.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, Matt, have you got any other questions?
Um, well, only the main thing is we would usually ask guests if they would like to nominate a charity, and we'll put the link for that in the description. We'll also put the links for your book and your music into the description. And
Thank you.
yeah, we just
And
want
would I like to nominate a charity?
yeah.
Yes, I work with a charity called Beyond. I don't know if you've heard of them,
Nope.
but yeah, they do like a lot of youth mental health work. So they're
Fabulous.
in like, yeah, they're in. So they'll be like in your daughter's school. They do like a lot of work in like schools and stuff. So I'd like to nominate them. They're incredible charity.
Oh, that's great.
No problem.
Put the link for that charity in the description if anyone wants to donate.
Yes, they're
Thank
called
you.
Beyond.
Thank you. Um, I was going to say, have you got much else planned today now? Will you stay in this park longer or will you go home?
No, I'll walk home. I might. Yeah, I'll walk home. Yeah, I'll walk
Is
home.
it far?
Nah, literally like 2 minutes. Literally.
Oh, nice. It's nice they're so
Yeah,
close.
yeah, literally 2 minutes, man. This park has been here for me for the darkest time. When my mum passed, I remember I came here on that day. I came
Yeah,
here
that was
on
one of the reasons you got sectioned, actually, wasn't it? It
yeah.
was
The last
didn't
time I
your
got
mum.
sectioned 2 years ago, yeah, my mum passed and that triggered everything. I'm an only child, so you can imagine my relationship with me and my mum. She's everything to me. So yeah, that was the biggest blow I've experienced. And my dad just died in January 2 months ago. So I've
Oh,
lost two parents in the space of 2 years. Years.
And
Amazing.
you've been obviously a lot better dealing with this grief. So is it fair to
Yeah,
say that you're learning your triggers and your patterns?
yeah, definitely, 100%. 100%. I spend most of my time asking myself questions and learning my triggers and patterns for moments like this, because you never know when moments like this will happen.
Yeah,
So like you need to know them because like life throws curveballs at you. I didn't know I was gonna start 2024 and the first month I get a FaceTime that, oh, your dad's in hospital, which is, had a heart attack,
yeah.
or like those things you can't prepare for those things. So it's important to figure out your triggers and get to know yourself as best as possible so you can handle yourself the right way in those kind of situations. Because I know
Is it
from the past not
sorry?
being able to. Yeah, go on.
And I was just going to say, is it fair to say that you can now see because before was, I guess you would say, it was a negative thing being, you could naturally see it as a negative thing being section. But do you
Yeah,
see it now as a positive in the sense of like it's helped you learn
yeah,
and it's actually really positive in a bittersweet way because you're
definitely.
able to know yourself and obviously help others.
Definitely. And I feel like if I didn't go through that experience, I probably wouldn't be how I am now in terms of like how I ask myself questions or how I, try to identify what my triggers are. I didn't care about all of that. I
Yeah,
really did, and it makes you think, wow, that must be how 85% of the planet must be. No one don't really. Everyone's too busy.
Yeah.
No one has had time to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
hmm
I get it because I was one of them. If I did not have my breakdown, I don't think I would have given. I don't know if I can swear, but I don't think I would have cared about asking myself questions or asking myself about my beliefs. I wasn't bothered about that. I was living life on like autopilot. Yeah, I don't really care. But it takes
yeah,
something like that to happen, for it to say, no, you got to pay attention to this. Because even though you think it's not harming you, it is harming you.
yeah. I think like society and lots of things play a big part in it now more than ever. And
Yeah,
I think it's really important more than ever to know what's going on in your head. So younger,
yes, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So when things come into your world or when things happen, it's not a why me situation. You're not looking in the sky saying why me. You should
This is
you should
definitely a problem.
yeah, you should know why. If you know
Yeah,
like if you know what you um believe or what your thoughts are, or certain things are like uncontrollable. Certain things just happen and you just have to accept it. But certain other things are happening because of you. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If you're getting into certain relationships all the time and it's the same kind of person, and you know what I mean? Like when I see on Instagram there's those girls saying, oh, I'm always with narcissistic people, and do you know what I mean? And it's like if it happens once, then that's cool. If this happened 3 times, like you've got to sit down and you've got to study. It's life's telling you something. I
yeah,
feel like that. I feel like life's always telling us something. Like it's always talking to us, and people are just not listening and watching the signs. And that's what I'm good at. I'm good at watching the signs. Certain things might happen to me twice, and I'm like, "Shocks, did you see that the second time?" And we'll be like, "Yeah, I saw that." I'm like,
yeah.
I got to look into that and
I take some
recreate. That's not,
responsibility now.
yeah, I got to take some accountability and some responsibility. That's not meant to happen, and people ain't doing that, and they're just in this loop. You know?
Yeah. I think that's when I went into some of my darkest times was when I used to do exactly what you said. Why me? Why me?
Yeah,
Why is it always got to be hard for me? And
yeah.
I think that self talk is the most
Yeah,
painful.
no, seriously. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Because life is, once you start figuring out the principles and the laws and how things really work, you realize that like life is not unfair. It's only unfair to those that are not aware. They're the
Mhm.
ones that find their life really difficult because they don't know what is happening and they think life is happening to them and just being really evil and cruel to them. But the people that do understand the principles and how it's worked and taking the time out to study and learn what this place is and how it works and how things are governed here, they're having a beautiful time. That's why you can see two different realities. You can go online and see someone, I don't know, maybe struggling, and then in that same you can scroll up 2 seconds later and see someone on a yacht having a good time. The only difference between those two people is what they know. One of them knows something and one doesn't. They're not better than each other. It's just ignorance and knowledge. And I can talk about this forever, by the way. But yeah, one of them is in ignorance and one of them is in knowledge. And like the sooner you get yourself into knowledge, the better life becomes for you. And like I had to get onto that side. And now I'm on that side. I look at this side and I'm trying to pass the knowledge back. I'm like, hey, trust me, you don't have to go
Come
over
with
there.
me to this side.
I'm like, come to this side. Like, trust me, pick a book up. I know
Raise
you
the
hate reading that.
vibration.
I'm like, I know you hate reading this boring, but trust me, that person went through all that life experience and put it into a book for a reason. They're trying to help us. Like, trust me, try it. So I used to hate reading. I thought reading was for nerds. You know, we always looked at reading like for the nerdy kids. But
Yeah.
as
Again,
soon
not
as I
something you
started,
probably just thought because of yeah, society and
yeah,
kids.
that's where I picked it up from. But as soon as
Yeah.
I started reading, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? All the answers is here. Like, millions of people have lived before me. There's nothing I'm doing. There's nothing I'm doing that's brand new. I'm not the first person to get section. I was watching something on YouTube because since I got the schizophrenia diagnosis, I like to like watch stuff about schizophrenia just to know more about it. And I was watching like a patient in like 1975 doing an interview about they was interviewing her about schizophrenia, and I was like, this is not new.
No.
Nothing I'm doing is new. It's just in a new day and age, but like it's not new. It's all happened before, and all the information's there, and you just got to take the time out to go find it. And no one
Yeah.
wants to go look, you know. So yeah,
No, I love that though. I do love that. I really enjoy speaking to you, Shaka. I don't think
Yeah.
yeah, I
we
enjoyed talking to you too. It was
I
a
would just
pleasure.
want
It was an
I
honor.
have just one final question, if you don't mind. Just
Yeah,
because of
sure.
curiosity from the conversation, would you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yes, yes, 100%,
And
definitely.
do you think that's helped in your journey?
Yeah, definitely. That was my belief in God is is the foundation. It's the foundation of everything. When you read my book, it'll make so much sense to you. But that was the fact I needed that anchor. I feel like someone put it the best way to me. I've got it now, and it's so important for me to remember. But they was basically trying to say, um, why take on all the burdens when you can give it to someone? And
Yeah.
that like kind of changed my life because it's like I really don't want to take on all the burdens and all my worries and all my problems because I don't have the answers for them. So
yeah.
like if there is an energy out there that can take on those burdens for you, why not pass it on? It's like there's a quote, not a quote, sorry, there's a scripture in the Bible that I need to get tattooed on me somewhere. It says, be anxious about nothing and pray about everything. And like I just think that's so beautiful. And I
Mhm.
always it's stuck in my head now. Whenever I'm anxious, I'm like, no, no, no. Just pray about it. Just let it go. And like that's helped me a lot. Just there's like so much. I'm not really a Bible scholar. As I mentioned, like I am a Christian. I was raised a Christian. I'm trying to learn more about it. I'm not a Bible scholar, but there's certain things in the Bible and in the Quran and in these faiths that you just can't ignore. Like they're so true. Like stuff like that. Like be anxious about nothing and pray about everything. And it's true. You shouldn't be anxious about anything. If you are anxious, you can pray and let it go, and
Yeah.
then let your answer come. I think where people have problems with praying is that they're not patient enough to wait for the answer. People want the answer now.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
help
we
me
do
with
live
these
in a very
bills.
now world.
Yeah,
That's the
God, help me
problem.
with these bills today. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't work like that. Everything is a process. Do you know what I mean? I think you should pray and then you should wait. Pray, wait, and let the answer come. And the answer will come in a way that you would understand. You know what I mean? Only
Yeah.
you will get it. If I said, um, answer I'm looking for has to come from someone with red hair, yeah, and then I talk to you and you got red, I would know because I specifically said how I wanted the answer to come. It won't mean nothing to
Okay.
no one else, but it will mean
Right.
something to me. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's how we get our answers. We get our answers like personal and direct. I feel like God talks to all of us like personal and direct. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in energy and stuff, and I believe me and Matt are very into synchronicities, so it's quite similar.
I
It's
believe in
very
synchronicities
similar.
all day.
There's
It
no
is similar.
difference in what we
It's the
believe in.
same. It's the same language. It's the same. We're all describing the same thing, but
Mhm.
certain people gravitate to different things better. So, like the language of church might be off-putting for some people,
Yeah,
but then the same language in like I don't know, like spirituality might be they might receive that better.
yeah,
It's like it's like the name God. People have so many other names. I talk to people and they'll be like universe. They'll be like creator. They'll be like source. I mean, whatever name you're
Whatever you
comfortable
need
with.
to believe. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That's what I wanted to say. Because believing is the most important part. So whatever gets you to believe, then run with it. Because if you don't believe, it's just not going to work for you. So whatever gets you to believe, run with it. If the word source gets you to believe or create or whatever it does, run with it. Some people don't like the word God because there's so much stigmas attached to God. You know what I mean? The name. For some people like source or you know what I mean? Whatever gets you to believe, but you have to believe. You have to
Have to
believe.
believe.
We've got to.
Well, thank you so much. And maybe when we like, if we like, obviously read the book, maybe we could do another part one day about all about
Yes.
what's inside and you know
I'm
how.
sure you have. I'm sure you have so many questions after you read the book.
I actually
So,
really think we should do this again and read the
yeah,
book.
definitely. The book
I'd
or
love.
when the album comes out, we should speak. Definitely, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will put all the links to the charity, your book, and your music in the description. So go and check that out if you're still listening. And yeah, we
Thank you
can
so
have
much.
back on and speak to you again. We'll read the book and listen to the album when it comes out.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
guys.
Shocka.
Thank you so much, guys.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah.
You too. Speak soon, yeah?
Speak
Thank you.
soon.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.